Hey guys, my name's Pastor Daniel, and for just a few minutes, I want to take a little bit of time to try and explain what I think is kind of the DNA, the cultural fibers, sort of Resurrection Church. And it's going to be a mix of things that we think we're executing on and things that maybe are still in kind of the hope phase of work from leadership that maybe we haven't seen the fruit of. And in order to try to have a clearer view, I called a few different people that are all relatively new to our church inside the last 2 years or so. Some as recent as just a few months, and I asked them why. Why did you come here? What's unique about this place? How would you describe this to your friends? Things like that. I guess I wanted to make sure that I had an understanding maybe of what other people saw in our church culture, as opposed to just what us at the center who is trying to get things done, what we see. So here it is. I think we have just fallen in love with the idea at our church, in our leadership, in our elder room, the idea of gospel culture. And gospel culture is when your church has embraced the gospel in such a real way that it leaps off the page. It's not just doctrine you list on your website or in a value statement somewhere, but it's the gospel being lived out in the everyday lives of the people in the church across all of the spectrum of the church that begins to have these substantial effect, almost an exponential effect on the things that your church is doing. And I think there are lots of methods to get there. There are a lot of ways that you can go about doing that, but I think that no matter how you get there, you're going to see 7 things, and they're distinctive, and you see them in churches. And so if you've been to a church like this, you're going to know what I'm talking about when you hear about it. And we're not all the way there with all 7, but a lot of them I think we're doing really well on, and that's what I'm hearing from people too. So it's encouraging. Here's the first symptom or sign that gospel culture is occurring in your church. People are meeting Jesus. There's salvations happening, and it's not a rare occurrence. It's weekly. People are coming to Christ who are far from God, who never known God, who don't have a church background, don't have a Bible background. I mean, it's just a wide spectrum of people meeting Jesus, being saved by God, taking steps of discipleship. So people should be being saved in your church if your church has a real gospel culture, and if not, probably not the greatest thing. Second, new people feel welcome, not welcomed like you greeted them well at the door. That's not what I mean, although you should do that. I mean they feel like they're welcome, that they're valued, that you want them there, and not just because of their money, or not just because of your numbers. Like they feel seen, and in the ways that you're working on this, and it can be different. They feel like the church wants them to be there. So that has to be happening, I think, for gospel culture to, for you to have a sign that gospel culture is really taking a root inside of your church. Okay, third, when people are there in some period of time in your church, that there's a huge majority of people that feel activated and empowered to pursue mission. The mission of the church, the mission of the Bible, the evangelistic mission that is the Bible. Not just the pastors, not just the staff, not just a small subset of the church, but like the church all feels activated. Church is Christianity. It's a terrible spectator sport. I mean, if you're sitting in the stands watching church, like that's awful. It's not the way it's intended to be. So church should be about people coming out of the stands as quickly as possible, getting on the court, playing in the game. And if that's happening, that's likely because, again, your church has begun to really put their arms around, their hearts around gospel culture and what the gospel of Christ says. Fourth thing, people are growing in their relationship with the Lord. So their deeper relationship with God, understanding the Bible more, understanding doctrine more, and those things are leading them to deeper personal relationships. So they need to be growing in the Bible and in their theology, absolutely. But that theology and Bible knowledge has to be changing them. We have to see the Holy Spirit's work changing them into gentler, more loving, more patient, more tolerant, more vulnerable, authentic people. So it's both, and that needs to be occurring in your church. And if it's not occurring, I don't know if we'd call that the gospel. Fifth thing that should be happening, it's a sign that gospel culture is taking root in your church. That the people that you see on Sunday morning when you come in the door, they're so diverse, they're so different in terms of across generational boundaries. The five major generations in America right now, across ethnicities, cultures, socioeconomic status, preference, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way, like, it's so weird, it's so different that you're like, man, this seems out of place. Perfect, because that's what the church looked like in Acts. That's the early church was just dealing with all of the weird sort of ethnic parts of everyone mixing when they used to not mix, and they weren't sure how to handle that. And your church should be doing that, at least in terms of it should reflect the demographic of the community that it's in. And if it doesn't, I'd say there's still work to be done. And I would say for us, there's still work to be done. And there's been a lot of work done. It looks different. It feels different. We have so much less homogenous makeup than we used to. It's much more diverse. I know there's still work. All right, the sixth thing is that your church is having a positive impact on the community right around it. Like, they would know if you closed your doors, the community would go, oh no, they were such an impact to us. They're so valuable. They loved us so well. And I would say this is one where we're probably the furthest behind in our church. So if you, again, DNA, we want to do this. We're trying to do this. I think of all of these seven, I'm telling you, this is probably our worst score. And then the last one is that the church is raising up the next generation. So your kids, your youth, your youngsters, we're raising them up. We're also raising up new leaders, giving them space and authority to make mistakes and to lead things, which will lead us hopefully to send them out. So to plant new churches and send new missionaries and help sister churches and cooperate with all of these, like the fun collaboration that is the church, supposed to be the church. And if not, I think there are serious questions about whether or not, again, you put your arms around the gospel. So 7 signs, I'm telling you that so you understand the heart of Resurrection Church. You can read our value statement. You can read our vision right now. You can get in and look at our doctrine, which is the Baptist Faith and Message. But I want you to know our heart. Our heart is that these are things that we've worked really hard on because we're so consumed with this idea of gospel culture, putting a lot of effort into it, and we're seeing the fruit of that. And so if you were to come into campus today, if you were to walk on a Sunday, you would begin to see these things right here to varying degrees. And there's a lot of effort, work, prayer to really see more of that, because we think it's indicative that the gospel is taking hold of people's hearts even more so. So just a few minutes to tell you kind of the litmus test of what we're looking at in our church, kind of the DNA culture of Resurrection Church, what we value, what we're trying to do, and why we're trying to do it. So I appreciate you sitting here and watching this. Good Lord bless you. Until next time.